Classified documents reportedly found by some Biden aides. Here's what we're learning.
Yeah, this is major. This is huge. It just got released here that the second batch of classified documents were found in President Joe Biden's Wilmington garage, his personal home. That is from a statement from the president's special counsel and now has been admitted. Again, breaking news, that second batch of classified documents were found in President Joe Biden's Wilmington garage. But it doesn't just end there, too. If you look through the statement here from the president's special counsel, you will find, again, it's not just the garage. There was also an office as well. Where one document in particular was found. Again, looking through this, they do say, and again, this is from the special counsel to the president, that is Richard Sauber, that no documents were found in the Rehoboth Beach residence. They've said that they have done what they have done as protocol followed in the Penn Biden Center. When documents were found there, they notified the Justice Department immediately. The lawyers arranged for the Department of Justice to take possession of the documents. They have released a statement saying the White House will continue to cooperate with the review by the DOJ. They determined that the lawyers completed for the president the review last night. They say that this happened. This might have been shipped in the course of the president, then vice president of the 2017 transition. That's the possibility of how they got moved around. But again, this is not an office that this was found at. This was the home of the president, or at least one of his homes, at the Delaware home in Wilmington, where that second batch of classified documents, it has now been admitted by the special counsel to the president.
And we're taking a live look. This is a room inside the White House. The president was expected to deliver remarks on the economy and inflation. It was scheduled for 10 a.m., so now 36 minutes delayed in that regard. But Sean, this definitely adds some questions as to what these documents marked classified were doing at President Biden's Delaware home. Of course, that was where the raid took place on former President Donald Trump, his own home at Mar-a-Lago, where classified documents were uncovered there.
Yeah, we could show you. Let's just go back to that moment where classified documents were found at Mar-a-Lago here. And this is the home of the former president. But this was found differently. There was apparently a back and forth, to stay factual with this story, a back and forth with the attorneys for former President Trump, not a vice president, but President Trump, and also the National Archives and those representing. And then somehow a search warrant was signed off on. The FBI raided this home, ransacked it, essentially. You've seen the pictures from it, looking for these classified documents. There was so much speculation that he had nuclear codes inside, et cetera, to which we know were not true. And then there was this talk, and really on a partisan level, Republicans saying, hey, why? I don't see a raid on President Biden's home. And everyone really kind of balked at the idea, saying that's ridiculous, that's crazy. But it wasn't. You've allowed the attorneys to search his home and say, hey, we found a few documents here that were classified, and they were actually at the home of President Biden. This wasn't an FBI search. The DOJ didn't go themselves looking for classified documents anywhere else, despite finding him in one of the think tank offices of President Biden, then VP Biden, at the Penn Biden Center in D.C. That was your first hint. Hey, there could be other classified documents out there. Nah, probably not. Nope, there were. NBC News confirmed it. A second batch were found at an undisclosed location. We didn't know where they were. It finally got reported moments ago from the special counsel of President Biden that they were at his house, at his garage. What else is out there? What was on these documents?
We want to find that out, and maybe we'll learn more later this afternoon. Of course, it was AG Merrick Garland who signed off on that Mar-a-Lago FBI raid for Donald Trump. He is set to make a statement, the AG, later this afternoon at 1:15. Newsmax will bring you live coverage of what that might entail. Again, we don't know if he would be remarking again on these classified documents discovered. I think you could probably assume it would come up, as the AG's office has sent out sort of a press memo for those to note it. It will be in 7th floor briefing room for you. So Again, Newsmax will have that and bring it to you live.
It just seems, and I don't know how much time we have on this, but it just seems a little choreographed if I'm just watching this play out. First of all, these documents were reported back in November, the first batch. So let's not forget that
Before
fact.
the midterms.
Yes, before the midterms. So if you had a timeline, we would show you on November 2nd, I believe it was. That's when the first batch came out. But it wasn't reported until after the midterms, until after the new year, so a couple of months later. Then a few days later, oh, there's a second batch. Did someone tell the attorneys and the aides, hey, go look for classified documents, everywhere? And then if that were the case, why didn't you tell the American people that? And now you had the first batch. Okay, why don't you say, hey, we're actually looking for more. There could be more out there. They didn't tell the American people that. And now we find out that there are more. They were at the president's home. This is different. Why is it different? Because he's the vice president. He can't declassify material. So when you compare and contrast, like you're going to see in other news media that is going to do that, and you compare Trump and Biden, there are differences, rightfully so. But the DOJ needs to be nonpartisan on this, and anyone would argue that. And you've got to put forth, if you're putting forth a special counsel on Trump, you're going to have to do the same with Biden. And at this point, now that you know that they're at his house, remember he said, "I'm surprised by these documents in his office." Are you surprised that they're in your garage, sir?
That would be
the
the follow-up question. He's supposed to take to the podium again, talking about the economy. We'll wait and see if journalists and reporters can get a question in.